Hello, my loves. Welcome back for another episode of the Hell Yes podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. I know I was supposed to upload this yesterday, but I had so many issues going on at my house. My Wi-Fi wasn't working in the morning. I was exhausted. I had so much going on. I'm in the midst of planning my birthday extravaganza because being that I'm a Cancer, by the way, my birthday is on July 14th. I'm going to be 27. I am such a party planner. I love to host my friends and do fun things. So we're going to be doing a nice little situation. You guys will see it on Instagram on the day that we celebrate it, but I've been just planning that behind the scenes. So it's been definitely consuming my time. But nonetheless, I'm so excited to turn 27. I think that this age is giving grown woman. It feels like I have officially become very aware and my frontal lobe is fully developed. And I definitely feel that. I feel the repercussions of that as well, or not necessarily the repercussions, but the realizations that come with that. And yeah, it's, life is life. What can I say? A few life updates before we get into today's episode. I have been just running around like crazy planning my birthday. I have let my nails get so long and terrible. I got this particular acrylic set done in the beginning of June, but I said, you know what? Let me just schedule my appointment right before my birthday. Big mistake. I should have definitely had an appointment in between because I am suffering, guys. My hair is a hot mess. My nails are a hot mess. I need to get my eyebrows done. I need to get waxed. I have so many things that I have to do before this particular birthday, but I am actually excited to do it because I love self-care and I love getting glam and I love like the luxury behind it. I also have been going through a lot of just transformations behind the scenes. I think that being that I am in my season, being that it's Cancer season, there's just a lot of transformations that always happen around my birthday, and some are good, some are bad, but I think it's all about how you look at it, right? So I think that a lot of the times when I think that something is bad or hard, it really isn't bad. It's more so of it just needs to happen in order for me to transition into the next phase of my life. So I'm trying really hard to remain positive through the hardship. And it is what it is. Summer is a weird time for me because I don't work as hard in the summer. It's more of like me going out, enjoying my friends and things like that, which I love. But I do realize that work brings me so much purpose and it makes me feel more grounded. So I'm trying to find a way to balance work, play, and everything. It's just, I have noticed throughout the years that YouTube just does not perform as well in the summer. People are not sitting inside watching YouTube videos the way that they do when they are, sitting in the winter. I've just noticed that throughout the years, or at least with my personal channel. So I've kind of not been posting as much. I actually posted a few videos last week, but I don't have anything crazy planned. But if you guys have any suggestions as to what you guys want to see from me over on YouTube, please let me know because I could use some ideas. But anyways, I want to get into today's topic, which is about how I have strengthened my relationship with God throughout the years. I believe that everybody's relationship with God is individual and it's personal and it's very special, regardless of if you are a strong believer or not. I think that this episode can really just enlighten you or bring some hope into your life because I know that even just discussing these things brings a lot of hope into my already hopeful life. So I want to kind of discuss that with you guys. I have told you guys so many times in the past that the reason I do what I do is because of God. And a lot of people have asked for my particular story and wanted to hear me kind of shed light on it a little bit more. And I think I will. I think that this is the time to do it. And I want to kind of give you guys practical tips on how to walk in your purpose and find the resilience and the patience to get what it is that you need out of life and allow God to guide you through it. I know that a lot of my stories always pertain to my career, but the truth is it's a huge part of my life and it has shaped me into the woman I am. I think a lot of the times we have different purposes in life. Some people's purpose is to be a mother. Some people's purpose is to have a specific career. Some people's purpose is to, become an Olympic runner. Like it really just is what you are destined to do and what you are destined to be. And you can also have multiple different purposes. I think that I do as well. I think I walked in my purpose with my career, and I'm sure there are going to be other chapters of my life that I need to fulfill a purpose in the latter years of my life as well. But when it pertains to my career, my relationship with God strengthened a few years ago. I have such a hard time bringing myself back to difficult moments in my life. I think that my brain naturally turns off anything that causes me pain, which is a good thing and a bad thing. I think what's good about it is it allows me to remain positive in my current life and to not reflect in a hard way and to allow it to shape me in a negative way. But I think what makes it bad is I have a hard time sometimes bringing myself back and reflecting at all. So bear with me while I try to kind of take myself back to when I was really going through some challenges in life. I think a lot of the times when we strengthen our relationship with God, it is definitely through challenges. I was brought up in the church. I went to church with my grandma growing up. It was something that I did every Sunday. I was a part of the church. For those who don't know this about me already, I actually am half Jewish, half Christian. My mom isn't really huge in religion or anything like that, but I was definitely raised to believe in God, and I went to church, and I was raised with a lot of culture and a lot of just celebratory things. So I've definitely had culture and religion a part of my life in some way. But when I would go to church as a kid, it was more so of like a duty that I felt like I had to do. I actually enjoyed it, but it wasn't necessarily because I felt like I had like this incredible relationship with God. I didn't ever feel God's presence as a child. I didn't know what it felt like to be a true believer. And I had no quote unquote proof that this feeling or this thing was important. I kind of lost touch with my religiosity as I became older. I just kind of was a girl who went to school, hung out with my friends, had boyfriends. I wasn't someone who was like praying all the time or whatever and whatnot. When it came time for me to pursue my YouTube career, I was really, really, really hopeful. I am a little bit delusional. I feel like I've always been that way my whole life, which has really gotten me far, but sometimes it can really mess with me. So when I had started my channel back when I was 18, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be the next Jaclyn Hill. I'm going to be the next Andrea's Choice. I am going to be so big in a year. Watch out. And it just wasn't the case. And my life was really hard. I was going through a lot of different challenges. Aside from that, I was gaining weight. I was having relationship troubles. I was having family issues. That was a huge thing that I was dealing with at the time. Me and my family were really just not on good terms. I was just someone who was trying to figure out what my next steps were in life. And I knew what it was that I wanted to do so badly. It was just something that I never wanted to give up on. So I was in college at the time, and I was working a job. I was working at Men's Warehouse. I was selling like suits and tuxedos. I worked in the tuxedo department, so I would measure boys for like prom and for their weddings and things like that. And I actually really enjoyed that job. It actually got me to be pretty good with dealing with men. Not that that matters in life, but fun fact. I remember wanting to pursue YouTube full time, even though there was no money that I was making. I said to myself, this is my career. This is my job. I need to put my full focus into it. So I quit my job and just did YouTube, and I was going to school. Then I realized a few months into school, I think it was like my second semester, I'm like, I fucking hate it here. I want to drop out. I hated college so much. It just was not for me. And my parents were so done with me. They were like, are you kidding me? Like, you need to do something. So I went to cosmetology school. I went through the entire program. And I remember when it came time for me to start looking for a job, I was having such a difficult time. And I will never forget the first time, and this is really when it happened, guys, that I felt God's presence in my life. So prior to this job interview that I had set up, so many things were going wrong in my life whenever I would try to venture out. Anytime I ever tried to venture away from YouTube to appease my family or to hopefully get some more money or to make everyone around me happy, bad things would happen. And it was like almost supernatural. So I went to this job interview to essentially get this job becoming a hairdresser. My car was broken. I had it in like the shop. At the time I was driving a Mini Cooper. It was getting work done, and I had this interview set up. My parents let me borrow, at the time we had a GMC Denali, and the air conditioning broke on the way to the job interview. This particular job interview was like 35 minutes away from my parents' house. And it was so hot in the car because it was the middle of the summer. and I was sweating my ass off. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to look like a sweaty mess when I get to this place. They're going to interview me, whatever. It's going to be a nightmare. At the time, my boyfriend was the one that drove me there because I never drove myself anywhere at this time. So he drove me in that car. We drove to the place, whatever. I get to the interview, and rather than them interviewing me, like actually interviewing me, they wanted me to work. They wanted me to do a blowout on a person, which I was like, no problem. I love doing blowouts. I suddenly realized that they kind of used me that day to be like a little helping hand because I ended up washing multiple heads. I was blowing out certain people, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe they're just trying to test my skills, see how good I am at doing hair. This is fine. They really did not interview me at all. There was no structure in the environment. And this was actually a place that had quite a bit of like good reviews, and a lot of people loved going there. It was a really nice salon. I was a little bit confused about this entire situation. So I'm kind of sweating because the salon also was like freakishly hot. So I drove there in the heat, no air conditioning, get to the salon. I'm doing blowouts. I'm sweating again. I'm like, oh, like, let me just be happy to be here. I hope I get this job, whatever, whatnot. I leave and they're like, we're so happy that we met you. Thank you so much for helping us today. I ended up washing like 6 heads and like blew out 2 people. I get back in the truck and like, I know this sounds insane, guys, but like at the time my boyfriend waited for me. Like, I lived so far from this place that he just waited in the car until I was finished. So I get back in the car to drive back home. I'm like, I think I did a really good job. Like, I did all that. They were really pleased with my work, whatever. As I'm driving back home, not even halfway into getting home, I get a call from them. They actually left me a voicemail because at the time, whenever I would get phone calls that were like unknown numbers, it would just go straight to voicemail. So they sent me a voicemail saying, hey, Haley, it was so nice of having you here. We really enjoyed you, but we are actually filled up with stylists right now. It was really nice that you helped us out, but thank you so much for helping today. When I tell you, I felt so used, betrayed, and just saddened by this. I think the reason why too was because prior to this interview, I had went on several interviews, and there was even one interview that I went on by my home where they told you to bring a model in to do a blowout, and I brought my mother, and it was just a lot. And every time that I would go and do an interview, it would require so much work. They would like not hire me. And it felt weird to me because I was so good at hair. It made no sense to me because a lot of the girls that I went to school with that I knew personally would get jobs immediately out of school, and I was struggling. And I'm not tooting my own horn or overly confident. I just think that in that time in driving home, I remember looking at my partner and I said, this is God. God doesn't want me to do this because it's supernatural. How is it? The air conditioning breaks. The car is broken. My car's in the shop. I'm blowing out all these people. I'm dying in the salon. I'm feeling the entire time there an intuitive feeling in my gut that this is not for me. And this was the first time where I realized I need to follow my purpose because I was doing so many things to please everyone in my life, and God was guiding me in a different direction. There were so many times where I would try to venture off and do something, and something again would just happen that was so out of this world crazy that didn't make sense. And I'm thinking every time I venture away from YouTube, venture away from what felt like my purpose, God would intervene. So I started getting closer to my spirituality and strengthening my bond with God because I realized there was something happening that was not a coincidence, and it wasn't just the universe. It was so much deeper than that. And ever since then, I've been walking in my purpose, and God blesses me. Now, what's so crazy about this particular story is I always tend to equate my strengthening bond with God with my career, but sometimes I forget that God has guided me in every area of my life, and sometimes I just don't see it. So even in my dating life, when things don't work out between me and a person, and I get so blindsided or hurt by it, there is so much clarity that gets brought to my attention after the situation will dissipate. And I'll say to myself, like, wow, this was God showing me this. Like, it's always something that's like written on the wall. Like, you ever hear the saying, like, read the writing on the wall? I swear God writes on my wall every single day. And I don't know why this makes me so emotional. I'm literally crying over here, guys. I love God so much. I feel so fulfilled with my relationship with him that I know that I will never be without if I have God in my life. Because even when I'm going through hardship, even when I'm having relationship issues or family issues or career issues, as long as I'm walking in my purpose and I'm doing what he has set out for me to do, I am in the right direction. And I always know when I venture out because, again, supernatural things happen. I kind of want to bring to your attention something really funny about God and my dating life as well, because this particular story is nuts. I was literally obsessed with this particular guy. And you guys know I kind of hate elaborating and bringing a lot of attention to my dating life because I just don't think it's appropriate. And I really do want to lead a private life with my relationships. But for this particular episode, I am going to shed light on this one particular experience because I think it will help someone. I met this guy a few months ago, and I actually do believe that I loosely touched on him on my channel. You guys wouldn't know which video, but I loosely touched on him on my channel because he, at the time, felt like he was a gift from God. And I know that that sounds so fucking dramatic and so obnoxious, but I was really focusing on myself this year. I wasn't dating. I wasn't going out with people. I was literally to myself. I was working on my diet and exercise. I was like spending a lot of time in work, doing a lot of things with my friends. I didn't date anyone up until 2024, right? So I had met him literally first month of 2024 in January. And I was like, wait a second. He is literally the embodiment of what I prayed for. His career, his looks, everything. Like it felt very harmonious and aligned. I was like, oh my God, this is wonderful. He was doing everything right. He was communicating beautifully. There was no complaints. We went on our date. It was the most magical evening for me. And I just felt like, wow, like the stars are really aligning. And I wasn't trying to get too excited, but I've just never experienced such a connection that I felt like, I don't know, like I just felt like it was so gorgeous and so beautiful. He actually went away the week after our date and started acting funny. Like he went on a vacation or something, or like a bachelor weekend and started acting funny. And I remember thinking like, let me give him grace because this is not something that I should worry about if he really is my person. I really do believe like if God intends for someone to be in your life, nothing can get in the way of that. Like that theory that I see on TikTok, the red string theory about how if somebody is your soulmate, they're just gonna be your soulmate. Like it's just gonna happen. I do believe in that to an extent. I really do. Anyways, things got funny, things got weird. He blindsided me with essentially being like, I can't do this anymore. Our connection is important to me, but I'm just really engulfed in work right now and blah, blah, blah. He was just bullshitting, right? So I felt blindsided, but I just kind of continued on and I was fine. It was what it was. What can I do, right? I can't do anything about this. I persist on with my life and he comes back. He literally comes back in April and, said to me, please give me another chance. I would love to see you. I've been thinking about you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, okay, you know what? Nothing crazy happened between us. We didn't have a blowout fight. He didn't disrespect me. He literally just said he was so busy with work that he could not essentially entertain a connection with me. And I understand. And because I am a pretty understanding person for people who are decent to me, I wanted to give him another chance. And I said, you know what? There's no harm in us going out. Let's do it. Whatever. He had planned this beautiful date, blah, blah, blah. It comes time for the date to happen. He cancels. Oh my God, guys, I was like heartbroken. I will never forget. I was in the gym. I was working out and I got this text from him and I was just so heartbroken. Like he ruined my workout. I was in such a bad mood. And I think it was just because I had such high hopes for this particular person, which we should never do that, but I'm just being honest. That I just was like, wow, this is such a letdown. Now, you think it would end there, right? No, it doesn't. He comes back again recently. Now, I really do believe that God was present this most recent time. I think God is always present in my life, but God sometimes likes to make a pretty big entrance sometimes with certain situations in my life. And I always know when it's happening, and I'll literally laugh because it's just so hilarious to me. This guy tried to plan another date with me. I was kind of being like wishy-washy, being like, I'll let you know, blah, blah, blah. Then I kind of just like said, whatever, we can just get drinks. Like I just didn't want this like huge formal date because he had let me down so many times. This man literally gets COVID, shows me the paperwork, shows me like his name on it, everything, guys. Like when I tell you he got COVID right before our date, and I could tell he was pissed. Like I could tell that he really wanted to see me and that here he is getting COVID. And I was like, okay, this is getting really weird. And by the way, the date that he had planned in April, he canceled 2 days prior, which was fine. Like he didn't cancel the day of, he canceled 2 days prior. When that day came that we were supposed to go out, by the way, it was the most torrential rainstorm. Like I'm talking torrential, and he lives down at the Jersey Shore. I do not live down there anymore. And he had planned this beautiful date at the Jersey Shore. I would have been driving in a fucking monsoon, guys, and I probably would have canceled myself. So I do find that to be interesting as well, but I digress. Back to present. He got COVID. I'm like, whatever. I don't care. We'll talk another time. Then he plans the date again, saying, okay, I'm better. Please let me see you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, whatever. You know what? I'm going to see this through. God is literally laughing in my face because every time I want to see this through, something happens. So I'm literally driving to our date, the most recent date. It's lightning, thundering, raining, flooding outside. I literally have to drive up this like elevated area in the town that we met in because everywhere else was so flooded, people's cars were getting stuck in the water. I swear to God. And I'm literally just like, okay, God, I get it. You don't want me to be around this man. You don't want me to literally see this man, but let me see it through. Like you ever just have like an argument with God in your head where you're like, okay, I hear you, but let me see it through. That was the conversation that I had because it was so funny to me. Like I really do trust myself, but sometimes I have to see things through. I have to see the connection through. This was a man who on paper was everything I wanted. Good job. Looks nice, seems really intelligent and kind, super compassionate, like all of the things that I was looking for, God-fearing. He was also shared a lot of the same like morals, values, political views, all of that. It was like check, 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 right? So on paper, he was like perfect, but there was something missing. So anyways, yes, it's flooding. I'm parked. We ended up hanging out that night. Let's just say this. I found out who he was in that evening. The mask was lifted. I did not like what I saw. There was certain things about this person that no longer felt like my Prince Charming. He just wasn't it. And I think a lot of people want to identify as him, as the guy. But there is a huge difference between being a good person because it makes you look good and being a good person because you're a good person. And I'm not going to jump to conclusions and say this person's not a good person. I just don't think this is a good person for me. And I'm really grateful that I went, and I'm really grateful I saw it through. And I kind of said to his face, like, too little, too late. Like, yes, I'm here, but I'm realizing now that, we've spent months and months and months trying to orchestrate this meet, and it is just too little, too late. I don't feel the same anymore. My feelings have changed, and I'm seeing a side to you that I am no longer attracted to, and I can't see myself ever being. And my feelings and my way that I even spoke to him changed. Like, I was more masculine and I was more like direct and nasty. And that's how I know when I'm done with someone, when I start to like not care how I sound and not care how I present myself almost. And I walked away with dignity and I feel really good about it. And I think that sometimes you have to see things through. But the whole point of that is that God was really doing everything to be like, Haley, you think that there is something behind this door, but I promise you that if you open this door, there's nothing behind it. A lot of the times we get so butthurt because certain doors in our lives have closed unexpectedly or without our consent. But in reality, it was God's way of protecting us from the fact that there was nothing behind the fucking door. Excuse my language and using God in the same sentence. I am not perfect. What I love about God is he will confirm things to you in ways that only you will understand. My relationship with God is strengthened whenever I need to make a decision. Being that I have ADHD, being that I'm indecisive, being that I'm anxious and loving and charismatic and I'm filled with romance and passion and joy. Like a lot of people like to taint that. A lot of people like to taint that version of me and bring out a nasty side because they take advantage. And whenever I kind of want to enter like my savage era because, it's summer, people be playing in your face, you want to enter your savage era, I have to remind myself, like, that's not even who I am. Like, I can do it, but it's not who I am. And I have to go back to God whenever I want to be that person. Whenever I feel drawn to be an asshole, be someone who I feel like I'm beneath, I go back to God. I let God guide me through this hard time because people will try very hard to bring out the worst in you, to taint the kind, beautiful, blissful version of you. And the ways that I come back to center are a couple of different things. I meditate, I pray, I journal, I go to the gym, and I try my best to keep myself busy in my solitude. It is very, very, very important to me that during times where I feel like I need God the most, that I give myself what I need so that God can help me give myself exactly what I need to heal. Because if I'm distracting myself with vices and people and bad energy, I'm just going to keep learning a particular lesson the harder way. Because at the end of the day, whenever I get angry, because I'm going to be honest with you guys, my bond with God that has grown stronger has also had its challenges where there will be days where I'm angry with him and I'll say, why? Why? And then I remind myself and he shows me why. He shows me why. The answer, Haley, is because this person is not for you. The answer, Haley, is because you shouldn't be doing that. The answer, Haley, is because this is beneath you. The answer, Haley, is because I have something prepared for you on the other side if you would just be patient. I am living proof that prayers get answered. So anytime that I am scared of the outcome of my own life, I am reminded by God and by myself, I am walking in a life filled with answered prayers. My career, my friendships, the way I look, my dogs, my health, my family, okay? All of these things that have strengthened over the years. My relationship with my family has gotten better. My friendships are divine. My body is healthy. I look the most beautiful I've ever looked. I am the smartest I've ever been. All of these things are showing me that I am living in my own prayers. Things can go wrong. Hardships can happen. Life can get a little weird, a little dicey. Sometimes God is trying to show you something and teach you something before he blesses you. I cried myself to sleep every day for months before I got the career I have now. God knew that I needed to feel like I deserved my career and worked hard for it in order for me to cherish it. A lot of people are able to be blessed and it be like an accident almost, or like a very lucky thing, and they can cherish that. Me, I need to feel like I worked for it. That's me personally. I need to feel like I worked for it. I need to feel like I bled for it. I need to feel like I almost died for it. That's just me. So God made sure that my path was going exactly the way that I needed it to go in order for me to cherish and keep what it was that I wanted so badly and what I needed. And that's how I know that my purpose is correct and that I'm walking in it, because I am living proof that when you start walking in your purpose, everything in your life starts to make sense. I wake up in a good mood. I could be going through the hardest things and I'm still waking up happy. I'm still waking up hopeful. I still am optimistic. I still desire love. I still have a beautiful heart. And that is how I know that I'm walking in my purpose. I think if every day I was walking in something that didn't feel like my own, all the other things in my life would feel like hell. All the things in my life, because when you do something every day that you don't feel like is an accurate representation of who you are, everything in your life falls apart. I'm going on a date with a man who I'm not supposed to be with, but I'm arguing with God about it. Like, let me figure this out. And he's like, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make your dress rip. I'm going to make the weather bad. I'm going to make him have COVID. I'm going to make you hate him. Like, all of these things were happening because of something that I wasn't supposed to be doing, because I was not walking in my purpose. And I know it sounds very dramatic, and I know it sounds very like, girl, no, this is God. So I kind of want to conclude on this note. listen to your intuition, because at times that's actually God putting that in you. What feels right feels right. There's no question marks. There's no nothing. And I know that a lot of people will say, well, if you're an unhealthy person, like you can have a misguided intuition. You can, but I really think it's important to attempt to get in good health and to become a person that you're proud of and to be doing things that give you purpose and meaning, and everything will fall in line. Like, I am so aware of the fact that God has my back. I have seen my life transform in ways that are supernatural and are unreal and are just, it's godly. In knowing that, I rest my head at night knowing that the things that I don't have or have not received yet that I want and desire so much are going to happen for me. But God has to place it in my life in the way that I feel like I deserve it, or that I feel is accurately representing who I am as a person. So the things that are missing from my life when it pertains to love or children or whatever, those things will happen for me when God feels like it's my time. And I have to rest in that. And that is what gives me so much peace and comfort. And until then, I'm going to still experience going through different moments where I have low moments, where I'm sinning, where I'm angry, where I'm confused. But anytime that I'm going through those trials and tribulations, God always brings me back to center by showing me the writing on the wall. I'm never, ever, ever lost with God in my life. And that is how I know that I'm on the right path. I hope that this gave you guys some hope, some clarity. Maybe you're going through your own journey and you're sensing God being a part of it. There's maybe supernatural things happening around you, or weird experiences where you keep taking that one man back and weird things are happening because of it, or that one friend keeps showing you who she is and you're, pretending like you don't see it, but then weird things happen after that. Like, or you're trying to pursue a job that is supposed to be the job that you want and desire, but in your gut, you don't feel actually pulled to that. All of these things are God. Lean into what that feels like. Lean into what makes you feel good. Pray often, trust in God, and see your life transform. I hope that this helped. I know that it was a little all over the place, but I actually didn't have notes today. I just kind of went off the dome. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I love you guys so, so, so much. And yeah. Probably going to do another episode about God in the future, but I really wanted to just kind of give you guys a little sneak peek of my own particular journey with finding my relationship with God again. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will talk next week. Love you guys.